Hello everyone, today I will be doing a challenge on Jazza's app for challenges. Here you can see me putting my Copics in there, what markers I have in case I want to do a color challenge, which I will soon, but for now I will do the character challenge. I decided to do whatever I got first, and thankfully I got a nice one. A manipulative person who has black eyes and wears animal fur. Now, I just started sketching. I didn't want to spend too much time on it because the idea is to do as many challenges as I can to just get the creative juices flowing. So I wasn't too careful with the anatomy there, and I later on noticed some mistakes, but the whole point was to draw something I wouldn't have otherwise, so I'm quite happy with how it turned out in the end. As soon as I read the challenge, I just immediately thought of this lady with a fur, either coat or a boa or something, and just out shopping, just a rich lady. I don't know why. I guess I was thinking kind of Cruella de Vil-ish in my head. This actually isn't the line art I end up going with. I just kind of used this marker to clean up the sketch so I could trace and do proper line art, just see if I was getting the look that I wanted with black. Generally speaking, on my normal pieces, I don't immediately line art like this. I will do a sketch and then like a light sketch and then line art because of the exact reason that I notice mistakes when I'm not drawing on the messy sketch. For example, the right arm here is horribly wrong, but I just noticed it too late because I went immediately to inking. That's why I prefer when I use a light box to not ink directly, but as I mentioned, this was a challenge, so I wasn't too worried about accuracy as long as I got the feeling that I want it right. The other thing that I found a challenge afterwards was to actually pick the colors, because the challenge did mention black eyes, so that part I knew, and I imagined black hair would go well with it, but the rest was kind of up in the air, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to make the animal fur like proper spotted kind of thing or just like plain fox fur. I ended up going for plain in the end, again to speed things up so I could move on to the next challenge without spending too much time, because I have very limited time in the weekends to work on fun projects. So here you actually see me sped up only 8 times, whereas in most of my videos it's 20 times. So it took only about half an hour for this. Part of that speed I got by simply making it a smaller drawing than I often do, as well as not putting too many details on the clothing. The dress is simple, the fur is simple, and part of it was by not waiting too much when I was jumping from coloring base to shadows. I'm actually not sure why I do it that way, but I usually do all the base first, wait a little bit for it to dry, and then do the shadows. That's probably not the exact way these markers were meant to be used, but that's how I usually do it. This time I just went straight at it and colored the whole thing. That piece of paper you see with color tests on it is actually something I find extremely important, especially because I have different types of papers. I have to have one of the type I'm drawing on the side to test the colors on, because they truly look so different depending on what kind of paper you're using, especially if they're not meant for markers or if they are and they really suck to color up. I think the best thing about challenges like this is, well, first of all, it's just practice, right? Practice with different colors and different shapes. But second, most people that I know of, that I follow on Instagram even, or myself, we fall into patterns of what we like to draw, what we're comfortable drawing. Not that there's anything wrong with drawing similar things or similar styles all the time, but it does definitely help you improve when you draw things that you're not used to drawing, even if it's small changes like, you know, I've never drawn a character like this, or I don't like drawing black hair, or coloring it actually, because I find it pretty difficult. It just makes you draw things that you wouldn't have thought of on your own. So I really like it. Some of the challenges on the app I've seen are pretty out there, like the one that Bailey did, the clown with the demon arm thing. So I'd be curious to see what else I get. This was a pretty vanilla, so to say, challenge, I think. Now, if we talk about my technique a little bit, so as I mentioned before, I usually put the lightest color down first and then go for the shadows. You can definitely do it the other way around. I know some people find it much easier to put shadows down first to give it that 3D look to understand how the shading is going to work. For me, I prefer the lighter one. It makes me understand the color scheme a bit better. It also helps if I want to provide a specific color of light or shadow. Like when I drew a Star Wars picture and I wanted the lightsaber to be the light source, that which is obviously not white, or really black or really blue shadow. So it helps with things like that when I put the light color down first. The other thing I could mention is that I use the colorless blender as an eraser sometimes. You've seen me do it a few times in this video. I unfortunately ran out of space on my SD card and didn't realize, so I'm sorry. I can't show the finishing touches, but I'll talk about them a little bit now. I use a Uniball Signo broad pen to put white dots on my drawings, as you can see right here. Thank you for watching. That was the challenge.